Hey Ricky, what is up? How's it going, man? Awesome. Well, I will kick things off. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It is Rob from Crypto Bobby, and just having a little bit of the daily crypto happy hour here, where I'm going to talk about the latest goings-ons in terms of the crypto space, what I'm looking at, just really hanging out, shooting the shit with everybody here. So thanks for anybody who's joining from Reddit. Thanks for anybody who's joining from my YouTube channel. Wherever you might be joining from, thank you very much. Really do appreciate that. Really excited about kind of what's going on today. Overall, pretty good day in the crypto space. I know yesterday we had a little bit of a dip and then somewhat of a small recovery. Today, overall, the markets have had a nice, fairly thorough recovery for the most part. So I think that's really an occasion enough to drink a beer to. So that works. As far as things go in terms of the market right now, that really is working for me. Some of the nice things that I was looking at today. Obviously, Bitcoin kind of led the dip yesterday a little bit, and then had a recovery. ETH really lagged on the recovery. Ethereum is back up above 300, which has been kind of that area where ETH has been sitting at for past 7-8 days or so. Kind of hanging out in that 290 to 306 range or so. That's been something I've been keeping my eye on. Outside of the two major cryptos in the space, Bitcoin and Ethereum, there's been a couple other major what I would consider pretty big market movers today. And we'll scroll down to take a look at one of them. Hey, what's going on, Joe? How's it going, man? I've not had a chance to talk about ZRX yet. Hey, Jeff, what's going on, man? So one of the big market movers today, two of the big market movers. Number one was Dash, and the other one was OMG, up 30%. I don't know if anybody here is in on OMG right now. That's one that I got in on around maybe $6 US. So I got in, certainly a little bit late, but where it's at now, $8.85. Yeah, Joe, grab a beer. Let me know. So, $8.85 for OMG, up 30% on the day. Still kind of pushing those all-time high points right now. I'm still pretty high on OMG. I don't know, long-term where it might go, but overall market cap perspective, it's running up. I still think it might have room to hit maybe $1 billion in terms of market cap, but that's pretty damn awesome. Picoin, literally never heard of it. But if you made $1,000, you made $1,000, so good on you. Good on you. Anybody has any questions today, definitely let me know as well. I mean, as far as kind of what you're looking at, what you might have some questions about from a coin perspective, what you might be looking at as well. $30,000 on ZRX. That's pretty damn fucking impressive. So that's awesome. In on OMG, hope it goes higher. Sold Litecoin. I'm not in on Litecoin right now. I'm not. If I was in on something like Litecoin, I'd rather probably be in on like a Bitcoin than it would be on a Litecoin. I think kind of Litecoin in a lot of senses lags behind Bitcoin, and ultimately I think Bitcoin has the more in like the pure play cryptocurrency perspective. I'd rather go with Bitcoin, and then from the perspective of some of the other platforms that I'm looking at, Ethereum, obviously one of them is interesting. Agrello, Delta Token ICO. I did look at Agrello, actually. That was, I think, an interesting ICO. I think it has a ways. It's talking about legal contracts in the blockchain is interesting. And I don't know if anybody saw some of the... There was a post in the Reddit or the ETH Trader on Reddit the other day about, I think it was like 10 different law firms that have joined up the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, which is pretty big. Outside of just the big tech companies joining up, I think that lawyers joining as well, that's a big area where that's important to have legal backing as much as I think two things everybody pretty much hates in the world for the most part are big financial institutions and lawyers. I don't particularly love either of them either, but they're going to get their hands in it somehow. They're going to make money off of it somehow. So if they're going to make money off of it, at least have them be on your side. So it was interesting to see somebody laid out literally the market caps of these, or the revenues of these law firms, and they were some big ass law firms. You're talking $500 million in revenue, like $800 million in revenue. Those were big firms that are getting involved in the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. So that's interesting in how that might compare to Agrello, and what they might be. Yeah, taxes and lawyers, two things that I love everything. But Agrello is, I think, somewhat interesting to have legally binding contracts in the blockchain. The only thing that's somewhat interesting is, to me right now, I mean, everything on the blockchain is pretty much finite. Like if you do something on the blockchain and you accidentally fat finger a trade, or you send money to somebody else who you didn't want to send money to, or you mess up an address, like that is, it's not like I can, if I send 10 Bitcoin to somebody by accident, I can't like sue them and be like, well, I did that by accident. So I'm interested to see, like, I haven't gone through the entire Agrello white paper, but making contracts legally binding, they're already somewhat binding. They're basically bound by the blockchain. So is there music on this, Robert? Is there some type of music? I can't hear. And then outside of that, looking at a few other coins. One of them that's of interest today. I'm not sure if anybody else is in on it, but I'll pull this up now. Excuse the crappy stream here. So Monaco, which is, no, no music for me. Monaco is up 140% right now. I don't know if anybody's in on Monaco. I personally am not in on Monaco. It's one of the cryptocurrency cards that is, in a lot of senses, pretty similar to TenX. I don't know really what the kind of overall difference in it might be, but Monaco is up a fat percentage right now. 100. I looked at this when I was kind of prepping for this live stream. I looked at this and it was up 120%. It's up 140% right now. So Monaco is mooning. For sure. And we can go up and see right now. I mean, this is looking right now, you're looking at a $71 million market cap. It was previously, I don't think at any point in time below or really above like 30% or so. Or $30 million in market cap. So I think it's interesting to see if this might match 10x's valuation or bring money away from 10x into Monaco. But if you were in on this, obviously congrats on some big gains. I personally am not, but that's one in the top 100 on coin market cap and one on Bittrex right now. Being on Bittrex right now, it is like one of the top ones, at least from an ETH perspective, in volume. So it's been interesting to watch this. And like I said, this one is pretty much, since its ICO, really not done much, sitting around 25 million or so, getting to as low as 6 million in market cap, and now up to 10x of that low that it was at. So if you were able to get in on Monaco, congrats to you. I don't know right now if there's anything really behind this massive raise, or if people are just kind of pumping in behind. People are pumping in because they think it might be, have a 10x potential, or if there's some type of organized type of pump and dump on it, since it is a smaller cap, not tiny, but smaller cap coin. But interesting here. I might keep an eye on Monaco just because its valuation is so much lower than 10x, and that's one thing that I kind of like, and I think is moving into favor for a lot of people right now. Is these smaller cap coins are not the tiny capped coins, but these like moderately priced coins where they might be at like $30 million in market cap, or maybe between like 18 and 35, $40 million in market cap, and people are just kind of hopping in because they think that they can grow to 200 or 300 million dollars in market cap. I mean, you look at like an OMG that ICO'd and was at $30 million in market cap or something like that. So and now that's at $800 million. I think people are chasing those gains on a consistent basis, and they see that, hey, what's going on, William? They see that, if you get into maybe like an EOS or one of these coins that ICOs with a multiple $100 million market cap, it's a lot harder to get those gains than it is to get them when you're looking at a $30 million market cap coin or something like below $50 million in terms of market cap. So that's something I'd keep an eye on. Is that looks like, to me, I've started seeing there's a lot more favor, or it's being looked upon favorably in the marketplace for these coins that are ICOing at reasonable rates and at reasonable market caps and valuations. And then once they might be able to prove something or they get listed on a few exchanges, I think this also had a factor with Monaco, as it recently or fairly recently was listed on Bittrex. So not that everything rises up when it gets listed on Bittrex, but it's something to keep in mind that Bittrex and some of these other exchanges definitely add quite a bit of liquidity to these coins. And it, at least from what I've seen for some of these coins, it takes maybe a month or so for a recently small ICO coin to get onto Bittrex. So if you can, even if you don't get in on the ICO, if you can go to like one of the smaller exchanges like Liqui that is quick to add coins, like the day after they are completely released, if you are really confident about a coin and you missed out on it in the ICO, but you want to grab it maybe before it goes on Bittrex, check out like a Liqui or like an Ether Delta or one of those type of exchanges. Any questions from anybody? Definitely open to taking them, and just kind of wanted to point out Monaco because that kind of jumped out at me and surprised me a little bit as well. Give me 1 second here. I'm also going to pull up the GDAX charts. Yeah, Liqui does have fees when you withdraw coins. I don't know the specific percentage, but I actually bought the District OX DNT coin on Liqui, and the fees when I checked out were pretty high. So that was interesting. That was kind of interesting to see as well. But they're definitely not small fees by any stretch. Thoughts on OMG? I am an OMG holder. I am holding it for, I would say, the long run, but yeah, definitely an OMG holder at this point in time, and want to kind of hang on to that for as long as I can for the near future. Neo is falling. Should you sell? I'm holding on to Neo and may potentially buy a little bit more depending upon how things go. So that'll be interesting to see, but I think Neo might have some kind of long-term hype behind it. I think I'm going to hold on to Neo for the time being. Ripple moving into China. No, William, I don't margin trade. I don't have the balls for that, quite frankly. So I stay away from margin trading for the most part. And yeah, not too big on it. Do I do daily live streams, Steven? So I do daily recorded videos, and then I try to do live streams whenever I have the chance. So tonight had a little bit of free time, and putting that out. The live streams aren't necessarily daily; they're a little bit more sporadic, but definitely daily recorded videos. So if you had a chance to, I would go later on. You can certainly watch today's video where I talk about a market recap. Usually those daily videos are maybe 15-20 minutes long, just giving my general sentiments. And if you are new to the channel, certainly hit me up with a subscribe. We really love that. Been pumping out as much content for you guys as possible, and learning as much about the crypto space to try and provide any insight that I really can. And just to give you guys some background too, have any questions about me personally? I'm not a programmer. I'm not a developer. I do work in tech, but it's more on the sales side. But I do have a master's in information systems, so I kind of have a good general understanding of how things work. And I look at things from like an overall market perspective and where I see trends going. And then as well, I try to approach things in a pretty relaxed manner. Like, I don't agree with pump and dumps. I don't agree, with that type of crap. I stay away from it. I try to look for value. I try to look for, quality tokens, quality companies, and almost try to approach it like I'm a mini venture capitalist or something like that, kind of putting my money to work in that respect. So that's kind of how I try to almost like form a little mini company on my own of like, hey, it's Rob the what's up, Joe? Yeah, Tech Boys Unite. Bitcoin boys. And Robert, as far as Ripple in China, I mean, I think that I'm not in on Ripple right now. I don't have any Ripple. Anything that seems to go in China, in Asia, always seems to spike up at a certain point in time. There's just such a big market over there. So I wouldn't put it past Ripple to do really well in China. But yeah, I don't know too. So if they are in China, who knows? But yeah. Any ICOs I'm looking to buy into in the near future? Not right now. If anybody has some ICOs that they're looking at, I'm somewhat happy with my portfolio in general of kind of where things are looking. But if you do have any ICOs that you are thinking about that look interesting, certainly open to hearing about the research and kind of what the thought process might be there. Looking at Real, Binance Coin. I haven't checked out Binance Coin. Thoughts on Qtum? Still trying to develop those a little bit. The Russian miner ICO. The Russian miner coin ICO might be interesting. That might get pumped to all hell. I don't know technically speaking about anything. I saw that's something like Vladimir Putin and pretty much the government are backing. And apparently they have even cheaper energy than China, if that's possible. So they're trying to put that cheap energy to work. It could be an interesting play. I don't know, from a coin perspective, like really what the utility of, like why does a mining company need, why does a government-backed mining farm need a token? They really don't, but it's probably free money and they're interested in getting it. So that'll be interesting to see. Should I buy Monaco? I mean, it's up 140% right now. I haven't checked the charts within the past 10 minutes. It's up 140% or so, though. So I would maybe wait for a cool-off period. That, it's tough to buy at an all-time high. Yeah, so it was up 140%. Now it's down to 130. I mean, generally speaking, and I don't want to, I don't want to give you, I don't want to really sway a decision one way or another, but if it jumps up 140% in a day, I would generally kind of wait till that cools off and stabilizes a little bit and then hop into it before pulling the trigger on it. DNT, yeah, I did buy in a little bit of time ago. I think maybe I'll check Blockfolio as far as like where I bought it, but yeah, it's kind of, I mean, as far as things go, fairly interesting to see there. Made my first 16 bucks. Hey, you got to start somewhere. 16 bucks, maybe $16 billion. You never know. Civic can be around 10 bucks. I would love it because I got in on the ICO. And I have kept everything I got from the ICO. So I would love Civic to be $10. I don't know if it's going to be worth 10 bucks or not, but it'll be cool to see there. Opinions on ARK. Opinions on ARK. I mean, ARK had, I think, a pretty good run fairly recently. I haven't really looked into the technology too much. I've seen a lot of people talking about it and a decent amount of people trading it, but yeah, I need to look into ARK a little bit more. Gollum has been getting crushed, so I think Gollum's been getting crushed. I don't know if it's tempting to look at a coin like Gollum and say like, hey, the price is down so much that I want to get into it because it's eventually going to go up, but there doesn't really look like anything from Gollum's perspective that is kind of going to stop that free fall. So gives me a little bit of scaries. I'm not in on Gollum on that. So TenX is interesting. I tried to get on the ICO. I did not get in on the ICO. I'm in the US, so I can't actually even use TenX if I wanted to. I also think that I don't know even, honestly, I don't even know what the price is at of TenX right now. I'll check within coin market cap on the other screen. So it's at $4.54 right now. I mean, I think it's a still pretty frothy valuation as far as like being close to $500 million in terms of a market cap for a coin that, is, I don't know. I think that's pretty high for a credit card per se. But you never know. It's crypto. It's a crazy world. So what best platform to store and trade? I use GDAX for anything basically US dollar fiat based, and then I use Bittrex for pretty much all the other altcoins, and then I store everything on like a Ledger Nano S, basically everything on a Ledger Nano S that I can. TenX versus OMG. I think OMG has better long-term potential. It is pretty high up right now. I mean, it's pretty expensive when you consider the market cap perspective, but yeah, definitely interesting. TenX, I think that has more limited potential than OMG. One of my opinions on ETH. I'm really bullish on ETH long term. I think it's I think it's only going to improve in the near term. The price has the price is not really. Hey Justin, I really appreciate that, man. Thanks. The ETH price hasn't kept up with Bitcoin's rise. Obviously, Bitcoin's at an all-time high. Ethereum's nowhere near its all-time high. However, I think there's a lot of market forces, somewhat keeping ETH down. But in the long term, the technical advancements that are going on gives me a lot of positivity about it. And I think Ethereum is going to be over 400 in the next month or two. So I would look at that, and I would also just kind of keep an eye on those tech advancements, because traditionally speaking, Ethereum has run up quite a bit when they have implemented new technical advancements, especially regarding scalability. I just think a lot of the ICOs that have raised a ton of money and have been selling off Ethereum. Bitcoin's rise is, when you're talking about market forces, Bitcoin has added how many billions of dollars to its market capitalization. So that's something that you need to keep in mind as well, is that money is probably coming from somewhere. Yes, some of it's probably coming from fiat, but I'm sure there's also a lot of people that had money in Ethereum that moved that money to Bitcoin once Bitcoin started rising. So that's money out of Bitcoin, and that reduces the price overall as well. Is storing 5K in ETH on Coinbase dangerous? If you're like new to crypto and you're in the US, I believe Coinbase is FDIC insured up to like 250 or 500 grand. So it's probably not too dangerous, but I definitely would enable two-factor authentication on your computer or on your wallet and make sure, because Coinbase is insured if they get hacked. But if you get hacked, that's your problem. So it's safer than most places, because Coinbase, I think, is pretty secure and is kind of the leader in terms of a lot of in terms of a lot of basically they're a leader in the space. So I think they're secure, but you need two-factor authentication. You need to make sure that you're good to go there, because if you get hacked, you're done. I don't own Populous. I don't own Veritasium. Veritasium looks a little, I don't know. Veritasium isn't very impressive to me, quite frankly. Their website's kind of ugly, and I don't know. What up? You could, why don't you do both? Maybe put 50% in at $4,000, and maybe see if it drops to 50% and buy back in there as well. How much money deposit on Bittrex will be safe? I mean, I guess safety is a relative thing, so I don't know. However much money you can afford within Bittrex. I think like cold storage wallets are important, and I would definitely utilize that if you don't have like a Ledger Nano S or something like that. I would utilize one of those, especially like a Ledger costs like $100. If you have like $5,000 in crypto, it's probably worth spending $100 to make sure you don't lose it all. That's maybe if you have $1,000 maybe you don't want to spend $100 and you'd rather put that on some other crypto. But outside of that, I would definitely recommend getting something there as well. Would you buy into Neo at 45? I got in at 10, but not enough. Yeah, I got into Neo at 6, but got into Neo at 6, and I'm holding right now. I actually sold a bunch at 15 because it was like, oh wow, it's up like almost 3x, and so I still have half of it, but I don't know. I mean, $100 Neo seems pretty aggressive. And yeah, Abe Elman, I'm definitely not a psychic. I am not an expert by any stretch. And I feel like if anybody tells you with certainty a coin is going one way or another, they couldn't be more full of shit. And I mean, really, hey, what's up? What's going on from France? It's a 50-50 chance. It's either going up or it's going down for the most part. So anybody's guessing. But I try to give maybe like probability answers or just from what I've seen. Thoughts on ETC? Not too big on ETC, so I don't know. It's just not something that really excites me a ton. So I don't have too many thoughts. Love the vids. Thank you. Really do appreciate that. I am probably at this point in time going to being out in the East Coast. I appreciate everybody's questions, but I'm probably going to grab some dinner at this point in time and finish drinking some more beers. But if anybody has any questions, feel free to comment on the video, to shoot me an email, or to reach out. I may have a pretty bare bones, but a new website, cryptobobby.com, and just starting up like a Facebook group in case anybody has questions, and a Twitter as well. So if you go on my YouTube channel page and hit subscribe, and then there's also like the links on the top of my channel picture. If you need to get in touch with me, if you want to join the Facebook group, if you want to follow me on Twitter, whatever you might want to do. But really do appreciate the time. If you're new here, again, come out with daily videos every single day, and then when I can, I'll do these live chats just to hang out, shoot the shit with y'all. But I appreciate the time and hope you have an awesome day, night, wherever you might be watching in from. Thanks a lot. Have a good one, guys.